is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys. Here's Nick Eatman.
What's up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette. I am Nick Eatman. It is Wednesday, February 18th. Moving right along here in the month of February, getting closer and closer to the start of free agency, which is actually March 11th, but a little bit of news. Yesterday, NFL opened, nothing new, this was the schedule, but NFL opened the window for the franchise tag so teams can start to tag the players if they want to. Cowboys obviously are expected to do that with George Pickens. Doesn't usually happen right away. They may try to talk a little bit more maybe at the Combine, which is next week, with his agent and see if they can make a little progress there. But I think everybody knows that that's where it's headed. But, again, you guys know this. They've done this several times with other players. It's really more of a holding pattern. They're still trying to get a deal done if they can. They'll have all the way to July to get that done. So we'll see. It's more of a, you don't want the guy to go to free agency. You want to keep negotiating with them, and that's the way to do that. And it also kind of says, all right, that's what this player is. He's a $28 million a year player. I mean, it's hard to think that you're going to tag a player and then get him for less than that. We'll see. We'll see what the negotiations look like. If it looks different in here, it's because it is. We're trying some new things here in our podcast studio, and I'm the first one, kind of the guinea pig of it. And it'll be different than what the other shows are, obviously, because they'll be in some different chairs. We have just me on this show, but you'll see with the Cowboys break coming up right after this, they'll have a different look, maybe a little bit more of a relaxed look, trying some different things. This is the time to do that, and definitely putting Chris Beam to work for sure. All right, 888-855-2297 is the number to call. I think we've got Davion on the line. So, Davion, let's get it going. Davion, what's up?
What it do, my boy? What it do? What's going on?
Not much, man. How are you?
Oh, man, we just chilling. I know I called last week and asked for CP Presser, and voila.
There it is.
Got one. Got one today. So so I'm excited to see that. I'll probably see it when I get up from resting from work. But I can't wait. I'm excited to see what he's going to say. I think he's going to hope he got some good stuff to say. Hope the questions come with some good stuff to try to get us the direction of what he's trying to take. And I mean, I know he ain't going to delve into too much. But
right.
But a couple things. I got an offensive question and a defensive question.
Okay.
Offensive-wise, it's been a lot of chatter, and I'm just curious of where you probably fall in this. What are your thoughts on Jake Ferguson?
Good, solid player. Solid, tight end. Doesn't break as many tackles as I would like him to be. A little bit more dynamic, but he's a safety valve type guy, and I think he benefits from what the offense is with the guys that you have to be scared about with CD and Pickens, and I think he benefits from that. So I think he's a good, solid player.
Yeah, I agree.
What are your
agree
thoughts?
with that.
What are your thoughts, Davion? Because normally you don't ask that question if there's not something behind it. What do you think?
I also got something behind it because I'm kind of curious of the nation why they really just kind of checking out on Ferg. I don't understand. He signed a contract. He's not one of the top 8. He's right in the middle somewhere. I mean, on the top upper, but not really just the top 8 tight end. But I think he's doing the job that we need him to do. Now, could he be a little more dynamic? Sure. But if you got GP and CD,
right?
Really, what do you really want? He had 8 touchdowns last year. I mean, yeah, you wanted to get around about 800 yards. He had 600, so yeah, a little more yardage. But if I got 2 studs on the outside, I just need this guy to really catch touchdowns and get first downs, to be honest.
That's it. That's it.
That's pretty much it. I don't really need that much more out of that. Okay, and my second question. Defensive wise, okay. I guess I'm going to shoot a couple scenarios and see which one you like better. I know we're talking about, since he's out there, Bradley Chubb is out there. So my thoughts is I would rather, because I'm kind of leaning towards not getting the guy on the West Coast. I'm more about trying to get more people, more rushers instead of just getting a rusher. So I'm thinking get Chubb, Clowney, Easy, maybe a draft pick in there, versus just having the guy on the West Coast with just one other guy for as a draft pick for as a rusher. And I think with the scenario with Chubb, we probably get us a linebacker in that scenario, and also probably get a decent safety.
Okay.
I think you get the guy on the West Coast, you maybe only get like one other little thing that maybe help you out the defense. Just my thoughts. I mean, I don't know. The salary cap is kind of a myth, but I kind of want to allocate the resources a little bit more across the board for the defense instead of just kind of put it all into one guy. I hope that one guy really takes us over the hump. I think we need a little bit more than that. But what are your thoughts?
All right. Thanks for the call. A lot going on there. When a guy is cut at this point in his contract, it's obviously financial. And, he probably not going to work out a deal, and it's for salary cap reasons, which means that the guy's, certainly not going to be cheap. Because it wasn't one of those. I don't think it was one where, you're not performing at all close to the money. It's just the Dolphins looks like they're trying to cut salary at all costs and really kind of hit the reset button. So that being said, Bradley Chubb's gonna get the top dollar, and there's a lot of teams that could use a player like that have a lot more money. So that's going to be a tough bidding war, I think, for the Cowboys. But I'm not saying that they couldn't get in there and do it. I just mean, it's certainly not going to be cheap. This is going to be one of the bigger ones in free agency to do that. And let's not forget the Cowboys are already doing that. They're already going to get one of the top free agents on the market. And as much as that doesn't sound fun to you, that's reality. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I mean, look what Pickens was making last year and what he's going to make this year. That's a big-time signing, and the Cowboys are going to do it. He's already here. They're keeping him, that's the plan. But just remember, that's going to be on there. So to think that you're going to get two of those guys, that's hard to come by from the Cowboys standpoint. Maybe it happens, but I'd be surprised. As for Ferguson, the Kansas City game where he made a catch in the back of the end zone, they got called a touchdown, and then they went back and reversed it. But that type of play, the catch he made against Washington, I believe, wasn't that Washington right in front of it? Yeah, a little one-handed snag. The ball was over his head. He just located it and caught it. So he's got some pretty good, ball skills there and down the field, down the seam. So I think he's a good player. I really do. I don't think he's a dynamic player, but it's a two-time Pro Bowler, and I know he was a replacement guy, but he's as good, and he's better than solid. And so I think, like you said, Davion, the guys around him make it work. As far as what you mentioned about you alluded to the Christian Parker press conferences today at 3 p.m. That'll be streamed live on all of our channels. So make sure and check that out. All right, Brian in Kansas City is next. Brian, what's up?
Good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Hey, you know how Jeremy's always asking you if you hurt anybody today?
Yeah.
Well, the good news is you have Nate Newton's phone number. So if anything happens and you should hurt somebody, you now know who to call to get a pardon.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. I'm sure other people have heard that news too.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing story. It really is. And talking to him on the phone Friday and him telling that story, and I know he's told a little bit on the air yesterday, and Hanging with the Boys will be Thursday, and I'm sure that'll be a really good show. But Yeah, I mean that's to be honest, I don't know exactly what that means for him. But he had, well, I thought, one of the best quotes of anybody I've ever interviewed. He had one of the best quotes ever when he said, when I asked her about what does this mean? Do you think it means anything for Ring of Honor, Hall of Fame? And he said he named the 3 things that are important in his life right now that he has: turning his life over to Christ, getting in the Black College Football Hall of Fame, and then also this right now, this news that Jerry gave him the other day. And so he said that, he goes, what I have is what I need. I thought that was a great quote, and really it's just a good mindset to have. What I have right now is what I need. And sometimes we look at it the other way around, but I thought it was amazing. And what an amazing story. Because he treats people the way you want people to be treated. And he admits he wasn't always that nice guy. He pushed around with a little bit of a bully. Not here. Not working for the Cowboys. He does whatever that you guys want, and he does it with a smile on his face. He's good to everybody. Really is a pleasure to be around, and I'm glad that news happened for him.
That's great. I watched McShots and got to hear him talk about it. And
sure.
He comes across. You never know with media personalities. Some people can, you just don't know,
right.
Who's genuine, who's not, who's just really good acting for the camera. But he comes across that way.
Yeah.
I mean, he really does. What you're describing is what my impression of Nate Newton from having watched the podcasts and all this stuff for years now.
Yep.
So glad to hear that's the case. Hey, I'll move on to football. I think Jake Ferguson is a good, solid tight end. I'm glad Damian asked the question. But the first thought in my mind was, I'm not even thinking about that in free agency or the draft, which means I already think that position is solid. With him, Brevin Spanford, I don't know. Maybe we're done with the Schoonmaker experiment. I mean, you hate to say that for a second-round draft pick, but he just doesn't seem to have developed into, that guy.
Right.
So, and maybe he will somewhere else. You don't know. But, at this point, I would think maybe he'll be a salary cap casualty this year, knowing what we have in Spanford. My question for you this week is, have you developed an opinion on the edge rushers enough to have 3 choices yet? So I just kind of fallen into, I think the top 2 guys, Bain and Bailey, that seems to be consensus 1 and 2. And then my third guy, like if he would make it to 20, would be Howell. And I'll hang up and let other people give an opinion and listen to what you have to say, man. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. I say this before, and I you guys, we'll talk draft as much as you guys want to. I'm not as kind of up to speed when it comes to some of those players past 12. But can kind of let the draft show do that work. Chris been in the back, knows it really well too. But I do like, and it seems like some years I like it that free agency's first, and then some years I wished the draft was first. In this particular case, I like free agency being first, and I answered a mailbag question: what's the biggest free agent priority? What position is the biggest free agent priority? And I said edge rusher, because you just can't count on getting edge at 12 or 20. Like you said, Bain and Bailey, they're probably not going to be there at 12. And if they are, you got to figure out why. What's the reason that they've slipped to that, or because it's going to happen. They're going to have pro days. They're going to have interviews, and there'll be guys that jump ahead of them, or they fall back, or maybe they jump up to the top 5 picks. Who knows? But it's hard to think that both those guys will be there. Either one of them probably won't be. So then, there's other edge rushers, but it's very important to kind of solidify that as best you can in free agency. And still, if you get one, great, because you can't have enough. I saw the Giants win the Super Bowl in 2007 with about 12 pass rushers, and so it works. And you get one if one falls in your lap, and you don't worry about it. But I do think that's a big important need right now, is to make sure that you can go into a season with some quality pass rushers, assuming that you don't get one at 12 or 20, because I don't know if you want to reach. You got to take the best player available at defense, And if it's linebacker, it's linebacker. If it's corner, it's corner. If it's linebacker, if it's corner, okay. That probably won't be the route, but I'm just saying that could certainly work. So I haven't gone that far to look at the next wave of rushers, but they liked Ezaraku and they got him in the 40s, right? So I still think you can get a really good player, even if it's at 20. All right, we got one phone line open here, 888-855-2297. Another one is Cowboy Nico. He's in Colorado Springs. Cowboy Nico, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Nick? How's it going, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Honestly, I'm a little down today. I had a friend pass away yesterday from his 5-year battle of cancer.
Oh,
partially why I wanted to call. I wanted to say something, and again, I don't want this to turn into like the Marshawn Nealon show where we ended up doing a lot of praises for the show because we're still doing football talk too. But I want to say this. I want to say this about the community. Irene and Sue have been the closest to me, getting to know each other, and they both knew what was going on. They knew I was going to have a little bit of trouble, and they shot me messages right away. And I want to say something about that. We may not have won our 6th ring, Dallas Cowboy Nation. And as much as I want that ring, and as much as I know everybody, Dallas Cowboy Nation wants that ring, we are winning. This thing that Derek Eagleton and Nick's dad have started, this storyline, has made us all winners. We are the Dallas Cowboys, and we're proving that we're the greatest fan base in NFL by something as small as reaching out because my friend passed away. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. I just wanted to say thank you to Derek. I wanted to say thank you to your father, Nick. I wanted to say thank you to your mother and as well as to you for that.
Sure.
Last thing before I go, I'm not going to put his information out there. So if Sergeant Sue wants to talk about it, he will. I will say this. Everybody give some love to Sergeant Sue. He's doing something phenomenal. And again, I'm not going to say what it is, but trust me, just give some thoughts to Sergeant Sue as we go through our day.
Okay.
As I get out of here, let's tag franchise Pickens. I love that. I do. But I don't know if he's going to play, honestly. That's just my opinion. I'm scared that he's going to, not want to play on that. But hopefully by the moves that we're making, we're aggressive right now. Let's keep it going. Shoddy said if he wanted to be aggressive, let's keep it going. So I do want to tag him. I would like to see a longer deal, as everybody would. With that, though, I'm going to get out of your guys' hair. Here's the last thing. So I will say this every time I leave now. Always ask for help. Sergeant Sue for president. And let's get rowdy. Thanks, Cowboys Nation.
Love it. Love it. Cowboy Nico, man, thank you for the call and thank you for saying that. We always need reminders like that. And I couldn't be prouder of what this show has become. And it happens every, even the Thursday night shows that they do on the Spaces that Irene and Dylan have, created and just it allows you guys to talk and more than just about football and tagging Pickens or not and signing this guy and trading for this guy and it's how are you doing? What where you been lately? Oh, I'm having to deal with this, and so then they guys check on each other. You become friends, and never thought that. I just that's not what we. Had we didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't look that far. Maybe I could have. Maybe I was short-sighted in that. But really though, it's about you all. It's about the people. You guys aren't friends with everybody on the show, but it's just people. It's just people that are good. It's just good people. And so yeah, you know football. You know the Cowboys. You know the history, and also that's one thing is you share a lot because you're all Cowboy fans. And they're all frustrated because you've been doing this for a while and you haven't seen Super Bowl, you haven't seen NFC Championship, so you share the same things. You guys might have different jobs, live in different parts of the world, make different tax brackets and how much money people make. But you share the same thing. You want to see that Dallas Cowboys star in a Super Bowl, and it's been too long. And for some of you, you've never seen it. So it's really cool that you guys come together and talking on the shows, on the spaces, and on social media and everything else. As for Nico said this about Pickens. I'm afraid he won't play on it. I think he'll play on it. He may not practice in the offseason. He may not training camp. Who knows? But I think he'll play. It's $28 million. I mean, he'll. That's pretty hefty. Every Tuesday paycheck right there. I think he'll play on it, and you don't have to. Get a deal done. So it's a very complicated contract. It really is. It's not one that's normal because his season that he had was very, very good. But he's had one. He's had one season like that. So when you look at what he's done over 4 years, it's hard to think that you can pay him what the big guys are making, what Chase is making. But he had a season. That was really, really good. So is he going to have another? See, that's what you're paying for. You're not paying for what he's necessarily done, what he's going to do. Is he going to have 3 more of those? If he is, then he's worth that money. So that's the scary part here. His age is 24? I mean, you go and lock players like that up. So not the easiest contract in the world. All right, Alan in Oregon is next.
Hey, Nick, first-time caller.
All right. Go.
Long-time fan. I just want to say that I think whatever we do on defense, the new ideas and everything would be great. I'm hoping we shift to a 3-4. I didn't know what your thoughts were on that. But I remember when we did that with Parcells.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out.
It did. It worked out. It did. They definitely had the personnel for it, and they were fortunate in that first draft in 2005 to land a lot of guys that could help with that. Not only Ware, but Spears, Canty, Ratliff. That's one draft. I mean, Burnett also in there. But I don't know if you can. You don't even have that many picks. I don't think to do it like that again. But I'll talk a little bit more about the 3-4 and why. What my concern would be there. But do you have other questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you think Solomon and them could switch out to D end instead of playing D tackle in a 3-4? That's kind of where I was going with that.
Okay, that kind of segues into what my point. And I think I might have said this last week or 2 weeks ago. What I don't know, and there's different variations of a 3-4, because I believe Aaron Donald played some of a 3-4 defensive tackle, and he was also one of the best in the history of the league. So usually your defensive ends in a 3-4 are guys that just kind of take up space, they take up blocks, they're not going to get a ton of stats, they're just going to be there, and so they're really defensive tackles, but they're defensive ends in a 3-4. And so you've got those guys here. I just wonder, should they be getting paid $20 million a year? I mean, is that the right spot there? I mean, Solomon Thomas maybe could do that, but you're paying a lot for Quentin Williams, you're paying a lot for Osa, Kenny Clark right now, you're paying a lot. So is that the right move? Somebody's going to play the nose, probably Clark. Those other guys would play on the defensive end. I don't know if that's the smartest thing in the world to put them there. Now, maybe in this type of scheme, it would be awesome for them. I don't know. Do you have the edge rushers? I think Ezaraku and Overshown could be those guys. And maybe you draft some. But it's interesting. I think that might be a question for Christian Parker today, if he would want to answer that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Anything else, Alan?
Nope.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Hey, good to hear from you. Alan in Oregon is our first-time caller. I swear, if I could, I think it's 37, 38 states. If I could add one, it would be Oregon. I just haven't been to Oregon, and I just think it seems like a cool place. I don't know. I had a friend that lived there, and he'd called me in the middle of the summer and said it was 64 degrees, and I'd get mad. And I want to go to Oregon one day. Nothing's ever taken me there, but do want to go one day. All right. Dylan. Let's go to Dylan in Northport, Florida before our break here. Dylan.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, man?
Hey, so I haven't been able to listen today, so hopefully nobody's mentioned this, but I see a lot of talk about cutting Terrence Steele because this is the season to, time of year to talk about the roster moves you want to make, all that, and that's one of the ways you can save money. But I'm glad there's a lot of content guys and radio guys, podcast guys coming around and mentioning this fact that there ain't nothing out there, bro, like to replace them with. Nothing on the team. The free agents are going to be expensive, and they're not that much better than what you have. And so it's like, I get saving the money, but what the heck are you going to do over there to fix that spot? Only thing you're going to be able to do is draft a guy. And do we really want to create a hole on an offense that was really, really good, even with the problems they had? The bad tackle play might cost you a game or two. You just got to hope it's not in the playoffs. But you move on from that guy, and I just don't see a solution.
That's, you're using like rationale, Dylan. You know what I mean? I mean, what? That's what you're doing, though. I mean, because you're right. You could just save money. Cool. Save money for what? For another tackle? Now you got to get another one. And you can say all you want to moving Guyton over, but then what? Who's the left tackle? Is it Nate Thomas?
Yeah.
Are you drafting one? Because it doesn't seem like you wish they had 3 first-round picks this year because, you want a corner, you want a linebacker, you want a defensive end. You can't do all that. And you don't have anything in the second round. So it's got to be defense. It's got to be defense here. So I don't think it's that much of a need. Could you restructure? I don't know if you want to do that with Terrence Steele. I don't think you want to. I think you want to. You just got to do it. That's what it is.
There's plenty of other ways to free up space. Just leave that one alone, and you can move on maybe next year. I kind of feel the same way about safety, too. Like, Malik Hooker is another name you see tossed around. I think Wilson's probably gone, if I had to guess. They're not going to re-sign him. But now you're going to create another hole. And listen, I'm not a huge fan of Hooker, but I think he is a starting caliber safety. He might not be the best, but he at least can play. And you get him a pass rush, maybe some guys in front of him, and if he can be average, that's great. But I'm not trying to move on from guys who are starting caliber players and have it open up more holes to go fix when I already have so many holes. It's like you're putting more holes in a sinking ship instead of trying to fix the ones that you got.
Exactly.
So,
you make a lot of good points. Thanks, Dylan, right, for the call and appreciate you. It just reminds me, of what Bill Parcells would say a couple times. I mean, two quotes come to mind. Really, his first year, you can't just go down the streets, the gas station, and just pick up these guys. And so, we'll just cut Steele and get better there. But who? You got to protect. You got to protect your quarterback. I always say it all the time. If you're gonna get a brand new house, I mean, you better get a fence. And that's what your offensive line does for you. And so he may not be the best, but there's a lot worse out there than Steele. So I'm with you on that. I'd be reluctant to change to just openly cut him. And I also remember this when I think about this quote with Parcells. It's not really a quote; it's just more of a theory. And I've told this story before, but I use Donovan Wilson for an example. Or any free agent that you're like, he's probably gone. And it's been okay, hasn't been that great. It's time to move on, because that's exactly what everybody. If you can go back this far to 2002, or really 2003, that's exactly the way everybody felt about Flozell Adams. It's just, all right, this didn't work out. He's okay. He gets false start penalties, not that great. Does he even like football? He's quiet, blah blah. And Bill Parcells walked in his very first press conference with the media, or maybe his second one after the introductory press conference, and he said, first thing we got to do is we got to re-sign Flozell Adams. And everybody looked around like, what? Really? This guy? You kidding me? 6'7", 300 pounds? And if you just did that when I said that, that's on you. Okay, we got to move on past that little phase. But he was like, you gotta sign this guy. I mean, and he did, and they went and made 5 Pro Bowls. So sometimes my point is let's don't underestimate Christian Parker coming in here going, yeah, you gotta sign Donovan Wilson. You kidding me? I mean, I'm not saying he is doing that or whatever, but there could be a player. Now, you guys would be crazy if he turns around and says, we got to re-sign Kenneth Murray. You guys would lose it. You'd be all right. But you never know what the coordinator has, the vision he has for these certain players is different than others. Just like the vision that they had for Javonte Williams that other teams didn't have. All right, let's go to break. We'll be right back here on Cowboys Storyline.
All right, Cowboys fans, this one's for you. Gillette's Best Shave has a new look this season, and they've got one that sticked out in Cowboys colors just for us. We're going to want to run, not walk to this one, y'all. The new Gillette Labs official Dallas Cowboys licensed razor isn't just Gillette's best shave. With 50% longer lasting blades than Fusion, it's the best a Cowboys fan can get. Get it while you can at Gillette.com/NFL. Gillette's Best Shave is also available as heated.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit AltecLansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's AltecLansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, welcome back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette. Gillette's Best Shave is now available in Cowboys colors, 50% longer lasting blades than Fusion. Go to Gillette.com/NFL. All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline. If you just joined us, we do have a new look that they're trying here in the podcast studio. Doesn't look so much different from my show. You don't see a table right here, but it'll look different for these other ones. With I'm looking at these 4 chairs, these comfy chairs. You don't want to get too relaxed, but we'll see how that goes. Chris Beam did a nice job of moving this around and kind of getting it going. Let's see if that's see if everyone loves it. We'll see. All right, Irene is next on the line. Irene, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are
morning.
you? Hey,
pretty good. I will say I have, when the Super Bowl comes, I am not as excited about it's like, all right, it's never a team I really want to win. Seems to be in there. So I will admit I'm a little behind on shows and happenings with the Cowboys. I know enough. I know the pressers this afternoon. I know Bradley Chubb got released on the Dolphins, and do we like him or do we hate him because he has an injury and didn't play well and all that. But I haven't really invested in the same way. I always need a little period to be like, all right, let me reset, and then I'll get back into it and catch up and all that good stuff. But I did want to ask, because I do always I feel like a lot of us listen to your show in particular because we would all love to have your job or have some sort of job that's associated with the Cowboys, right? Just in some, maybe not officially, but in our fantasy life, I guess. And so I always like to know what, set the stage. So press conference today, right? I noticed, I don't feel like you ask as many questions as some people are there, and they're, especially when they're not in the building, they're going to ask questions. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So what goes into that? Do you pre-prepare, or are you listening? And is it something catches your attention and you want a clarification or whatever? Generally speaking, I'm just interested in how these pressers work. I already talked to Beam, but I didn't realize he was also streaming that. He's a man. I mean, I should have realized that, but I'm doesn't anybody else do anything that Chris does?
Great question, Irene. Great question. That part. I think other people, we had other people here for sure, but they don't do, He had other pass rushers too, but DeMarcus Ware was out there every snap. You know what I mean? So
that's a good point.
That's really what it comes down to. There are other rushers. I mean, there are other guys, but if it's 3rd and 7, though, who do you want coming off the edge there? And that's kind of the way it goes down. All right, thanks for the call. I can kind of give you a little bit of insight there. I mean, every situation is different, based off of the timing of the press conference too. 3:00 one is a little later. In this type of press conference, usually around 1 or so, sometimes at 11. We're fine with that because we have shows. We have podcasts all the way up until about 2:00. So this actually worked out well for us. And then as far as me personally, it just kind of depends on what we have, what we need. I probably will be there today, just because Patrick's won't be there and Tommy. It'll just be myself and Tommy. So I probably will be there. But sometimes I'm back listening. And then if we need to write something quickly, it's easier for me to do that based off of what is said in a press conference. Also, if we need any clarification, we have the good fortune that the head coach actually does walk by our offices to the press conference and then back the other way. Not that we stop him that much, but we could if we needed to. There is one person that is always stopping him and talking, actually two, to be honest. And so loving to tell stories to the coach. So they usually have his attention there. But if we wanted to do that, as far as asking the questions, yeah, I mean, if it's needed, it's needed. But it's not going to be done. I'll just say this. It's not going to be done just to kind of see my face up there or hear my own voice or whatever, or to try to let other people know, what my thoughts are. It'll be done because it's a real question. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. All right, Eric in Arkansas. Eric, what's up?
Man, how's it going?
How are you?
Man, I can't complain. Everything's going all right. Every day above ground is all right for me.
Well, it'd be really all right if Arkansas could beat Alabama tonight, but whatever. It'd be really all right if that could be the case. I don't know. I feel like there's other people from Arkansas that have called, and I've mentioned Razorbacks, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not really an Arkansas fan." I can't remember. Are you? You're not. You're Arkansas State, right?
Yes, Arkansas State. Yep, for sure. So I don't.
Y'all had a really bad year because if you lost to Arkansas, that was a bad year. I'm just kidding. All right, man. What do you got?
So, man, this year I'm really ate up with it, man. I'm watching podcasts. I'm watching the mock drafts and all this stuff, and I see a lot of us saying move back.
Mm-hmm.
Use the 12 or move back to 20, move the 20 pick back. And I'm more of, man, let's stay pat where we are because gaining a second round or a third round, we haven't done anything with those second and third rounds.
Yeah.
So let's get what we can get, the 12th pick and the 20th pick. Me personally, I think we need safety help and a linebacker. I wish and I hope we can address the DN position like in free agency.
Yeah, I'm with you on that part. I mentioned that earlier, but I'll say this, Eric. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I don't have to go into the draft trying to move back and get me a second or third rounder. But if you said linebacker and safety, and you're sitting at 12, and there is a linebacker, there's a safety, and there's another player that you really like, you'd go to 14, right? You go to 15.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what it was. Jerry wanted Roy Williams. 2002. He wanted Roy Williams. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He wanted Roy Williams, but he was sitting at number 6, and he knew he could go to 8 and get him. He knew he could go to 10, from 10 to 12, and still get Micah Parsons. He has a knack of letting people tell him who they're going to take and who they're not going to take. And so that being said, then you would do it, and then a third rounder makes sense, and a second rounder makes sense from that standpoint. But I'm with you. I don't go into it going, God, got to move back. No. Get the player. Get the player because that you really want. But if you find out that you can get some value out of it and still get what you want, and maybe somebody else in the second or third round, then I think that is what the Cowboys will do. They've been known to do that. But I think it'll be a secondary move, not a strategy on draft night.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping. Because if anything, I would love for them to move up to get downs. I mean,
move up.
Yeah, to get down because I don't think he would be there at 12.
But
think we
now,
have to
okay.
jump.
But what are you giving up for that?
Well, I'm swapping my 12 for
9, 8, something like that.
9, yeah, 9 or 8, something like that, and I'm keeping like that. I'm hoping we probably have to give up, probably what's that, one of the 5th picks, but we got a couple 5th-round picks, so I would swap my 12.
It's going to be more than that, though, Eric. It'll be more than a 5th to move from 12 to 9. That's. I mean, think of it like this: the Cowboys, when they got Tyler Guyton, I think it was 25 or 26, maybe it was like 24 to 28, and they got a 3rd for that. They went down 5 spots and got a 3rd from 24 to 28. So if a team went from 9 to 12, that's going to be a 2nd-round pick, probably.
Well, see, I've seen something where we swap our 12 with Cleveland, and
are they 9?
I think we give them. I think they're a little higher. I think they're 8 or 9, something like that.
Okay, go ahead.
But we're swapping our 12 with Cleveland, and then we're getting their 39, and they're getting our 20th. So we're moving up. They're getting our 12 and 20, and we're getting their 39.
See, I don't like that.
39th pick.
I think the difference between the 9th best player or the number 9 pick and the 12th pick is not as great as the 20th pick to the 39th pick. I just think.
But you think about it.
Go ahead.
You think about this though. Since you get downs, and you talking about the top of the 2nd, there's a possibility CJ's there, Allen. So you walk away with Downs and Allen. I take that all day long.
It's a strategy. I mean, it's a strategy. I mean, it's weird. It's different when you're putting names on it. Like you're putting names on it, and you're actually, and that's what you should do because that's what it is.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'm looking at numbers right now, not so much names, and I'm like, and also look at fifth year option. I want 2 of those. I want 2 fifth-year options. I don't want to. I mean, because think about Overshown. I mean, this is Overshown's contract year. Have you even seen Overshown play enough? I mean, seriously, he's worn more numbers. He's worn more numbers than he's had starts. I think. I mean, like he's moved around. He's been in the news a lot. Hurt this and that. He says all the right things, but he's in a contract year because he's a 4-year deal. So I like those 5th-year options. I want that, and 39 just a little too far, I think, for me. I think 20. Now, if you could figure out a way, it's kind of hard to do that with one team unless there's another team that has 2 picks. But it's hard to think you can go from like 12 and move up to like 9, but then move 20 down. I don't know if there's another team that has that scenario, but that's kind of what you would want. Like, all right, if you're going to move up from 12, you're probably going to need to move down from 20. And they just don't have the capital in the 2nd and 3rd round to move up from, you know what I mean, to actually get rid of that right now. So now maybe it's a player, but I don't know who that would be. So, anyways, good stuff. I mean, that's what we're talking about. All right, Eric.
Have a good one.
Thanks for the call. Let's move to Rob in Vegas. Rob, what's up?
Hey, Nick. How's everything?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to say what Voch Lombardi says, F those picks. I don't want quantity. We've tried that. We tried that last year when we made the dumb move of getting rid of Micah Parsons and saying, oh, yeah, we could just have a bunch of guys rush the passer, and you saw how that worked out. Quality is what we need. If you have an opportunity, people say one play it doesn't change anything. Are you kidding me? Micah Parsons made everybody better in the back end.
Right.
And a safety is great. This guy coming out of college, Downs, sounds good. Without a pass rush, he won't be half the player.
Right. No, you're right. And there's he's got 2 teammates that are also that play in front of him at Ohio State that are going to be drafted, and they may be drafted ahead of him.
Exactly. So
I'm with
go
you.
Get me quality.
I hear you. So you're saying you're keeping 12 and 20. I mean, you're keeping 2 first-rounders. You're not trying to trade.
Actually, I'm trying to trade 12 for the guy in Vegas.
Okay. 12? Straight up 12. We think that would all that would
it's going to be no. Honestly, it's going to be more than that. But if I could trade 12 and next year's like second round, I would do it in a heartbeat. And I keep saying the same thing. If everybody's talking about a 3-year window because of Dak, it's very rare a rookie comes in and is better than these top guys in free agency. It just doesn't happen. And that's why I really have no interest in the draft. To me, if you want to win a Super Bowl, it starts in free agency. We've seen it the last few years, Philadelphia especially. Saquon Barkley was the difference maker, the wide receiver. To me, if you want to build for the future, 2, 3, 4 years, the draft is definitely helps with that. But if you want to win now, you have to do it in free agency. And if I don't see the Cowboys do anything in free agency, then I just know exactly what's going to happen. And, Irene asked me if I was going to Oxnard, and I said, well, I'm going to wait till see what they do in free agency. If they do something really good in free agency, then yes. If they don't, then no. So,
you're going to go. You're going to be there, Rob.
No, honestly, I honestly no, because it's fun to hang out with you guys and everything. But, sooner or later, we got to try something different. Now, everybody's assuming that, Jerry's talking a good game. And, listen, I've been around Jerry a long time in the sense of as a fan. No, it's show me. Don't talk. Just show me. It's with Pickens. Show me. You tell me you want to keep him, then let's knock this out. It's, my fear with this new DC is I hope that, Jerry could be very intimidating to young coaches who are trying to work their way up. I hope he doesn't, I hope this DC doesn't tell Jerry what he wants to hear. Because Jerry would love for him to say, oh, no, we got the pieces. I could just change things. No, you do not. You don't have the pieces. So I want him to turn around and say, Jerry, we need to revamp this defense big time. We need to go in free agency and get this guy and this guy. That's what I would love to hear from this DC.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like I said, the draft is fun. Draft is hope. But I need proven guys to win. To win a Super Bowl, you need proven players. And like I said, if you got a 3-year window, let's go. You finally have the ammunition to make some really, really good moves. And I hope they do it, but we'll see.
All right, we'll see. All right, thanks for the call, Rob. I kind of think the number 12 pick for he's talking about Crosby. That's fine. I know. I mean, that is what it is. But any player like that, I don't know if that would that might be too much. I don't think you have to go 12. I really don't. I mean, it depends on who you're listening to, but you got to remember the contract part. When the the team is getting the contract, they are that there's value there in absorbing contract from another team. That's why that happens. So, little different scenario with Micah and the Cowboys, just because he needed a contract. He needed a new one there, and so the Cowboys weren't really absorbing much or anything. But we'll see. Having that guy defensive end and Quinnen Williams and Osa in the middle, that'd be pretty strong right there. You imagine how good your linebackers and cornerbacks and safeties all of a sudden get. I'm with you. That Micah Parsons made everybody better, and he maybe made him worse when he left. Let's go to break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back after this.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks, home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys United, presented by Globe Life, is exclusively in the Dallas Cowboys app. Join the official fan club today to receive access to Cowboys Drops, where you can win game tickets, autographed items, exclusive experiences, and more. Download the app now to join. All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline for maybe another 15 minutes or so. I want to give Chris enough time to rearrange this new look set that we have. It doesn't look that much different. I get it. You guys don't see that as much. There's no table here, but you'll see it in some of the other shows and the chairs that we'll have starting with Cowboys break here in a few minutes after after this show. All right, let's go to Philly. Bruce in Philly. What's up, man?
What's up, Nick? Long time, man. How's it going?
It's going good. Yeah, I'll give you. Here we go. I have a caller, Jeremy in D.C. always says, "Man, you hurt anybody today?" And I say, "No, I couldn't hurt anybody if I tried." But Bruce in Philly, being a Cowboy fan in Philly, maybe I should ask you: have you hurt anybody today?
No, I haven't heard anybody say. Not today, Nick. It's been last time I talked to you. You guys were coming to Philly. We were talking about the weather is supposed to be all crappy, and it turned out to be actually not a bad day. But nevertheless, it's been so long, man. Just real quick, I had a chance to take my kid. We came down for the Thanksgiving Day game. It was that was the highlight of my season. It seems like everything went downhill after that.
Yeah.
But it was just a great experience being there in Dallas. My first time since the last game in Texas Stadium. So I'm 2-8 at Cowboys games now. So I'm on the trend up. But nevertheless, man, just getting into it real quick. One of the things I hear everybody talking about defense, and I didn't get a chance to, do my autopsy of the season and all that. So I'm going to try to just do it real quick. But I hear everybody talking about defense. But my concern is that we don't give enough attention to the offense, particularly the offensive line. And I think that's the real key to Cowboys success. When I think of signature wins for the Dallas Cowboys, the Steelers identify themselves with defense. Green Bay is always going to have a really good quarterback, it seems. The Dallas Cowboys, when they are really good, they have a dominant offensive line. And I think that's always the deodorant for everything Dallas. I know that we're going to draft defense, but I think we got to get these tackles. That tackle, that center, and that right tackle, they have to be what we need them to be. And I think that's really what's going to lead Dak to being better. I think our offense, as bad as our defense was, but our offense in those signature games on the road, they really didn't step up. I think the last signature road win we had was in Pittsburgh. But other than that, we seem to struggle, and I think because we can't get the consistent O-line play. So I want you, if you could, just let me know what you think about how we're going to allocate resources to offense and even through the draft or through free agency. Do you see us doing something at left tackle? Do we stick with Guyton? I really just wanted to hear your thoughts.
I think that's a great call, and you're making some really good points because yes, it's easy to look at defense, and I think you could win. You certainly could win with this offense. That was the thought process is when how good does this defense need to be with the offense the way it is? I mean, I think just a little bit better, and this team could have been a lot better. And if you're going to fix the offense at all, it's the offensive line because there is some inconsistency at left tackle. And Tyler Guyton hasn't developed into the player that you want just yet. And but you have young players, and so you've when you think about what they've done they've drafted 3, just like they did in 2011, 11, 13, and 14. 3 out of 4 years they drafted an offensive lineman. Tyron Smith, and then they skipped a year, and then they got Frederick, and then they got Martin. And they've done that here. 3 out of 4 years they've drafted an offensive lineman in Guyton, in Booker, and Tyler Smith. So, and then BB in the 3rd round. And, Steele's is what he is. He's not super old, but he's not a young pup either. So they've got young guys that they're still trying to develop into that role. And I don't know how much more resources they can really put into it. Now it's just time develop them. So I'm with you. I mean, it's not solid. I mean, it's solid. It's not perfect over there, but I just think you can win. You can win games there. You've got to fix that defensive side of the ball. But there's that one wild card. One wild card there, Bruce, is the Tyler Smith to left tackle. Now, I don't love it. I really don't. I think he's going to be all-pro at left guard, and I think he's better there. Just like Zach Martin was better there. Just like Nate Newton was better there. And just like Larry Allen was better there. They were better. They were all pros. And but Shotty's got that in his in his back pocket if he wants to, and if they decide that that's the better option, that gives us a better 5 rather than playing him at left guard and figuring out who the tackle is. It's a much better situation if he plays left tackle and TJ Bass plays left guard or Hoffman plays guard or whoever. If they feel like that is absolutely the best option, then I think that they'll go that route. I just hope if they do that, I hope they give Tyler Smith enough time to prepare for that. Now, he can do it. He's smart. But body type-wise, I think you're different if you're guard and you're a tackle. But they definitely have that. If they want to go that route, I don't think they will. But, it's one of those contingency plans that you go into the season going, well, if it really got bad, we could do that. So, and that's why you like those versatile players like that. All right, Lester in Minnesota. Lester, what's up?
Morning, Nick.
How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's a great day in Minnesota, man.
Good.
Hey, well, you know how I feel about the offensive line, so I'll just make a quick comment about that. You know how I feel. I want the best offensive line that we have right now. You got my lineup, and part of that, this is before the draft and free agency and all that. Part of that is moving our left guard to left tackle. But anyway, that's not what I called for.
All right.
Again, I know we're talking about the draft and everything in free agency, and my thing is that I really think we need a quarterback of the defense. I think we need to find in the free agency a veteran linebacker that can read, cover, and tackle. And then just go from there. As far as my opinion, because, like I said, that's the quarterback of the defense, man. And shout out to Nate for his pardon.
Yeah.
And then, like I always say again, man, our GM, he's going to be there forever. So I think this is kind of like a reset, a restart, or whatever you want to call it. I think from this point on, it should be the vision of the GM because he's not leaving. He's not going to get promoted. He's not going to, well, he may retire one day, but he's going to be there. He's been there the last 30 years. So I think the team vision should be his vision. And as far as the draft, hey, man, like I said, man, we got over 3,000 picks out there, man. If you include the black colleges and the UFL, I mean, that's not part of the draft, but that's part of the process. You can get some of those players. And that's all I got, man.
All
go
right.
Cowboys, because it's dead time right now. So go Cowboys.
All right. Well, thanks for the call. The NFL kind of tries their best to never make it a really a dead period. It's always in the news. I mean, you get, baseball's getting close to I guess starting spring training soon, and hockey and basketball are going on, and college basketball and all that. But the NFL is like the combines next week. It's going to dominate the headlines. It's what it is. Franchise tag. That's why they open up the the window, and now we'll see who the guys that are going to get the tag. And and all that. So the NFL does a pretty good job of kind of keeping their sport, up in the forefront. But yeah, I mean, a lot of options for this team to get better. And we've seen it. They've done a nice job. They do a really good job with undrafted players. They've done a great job with the UFL, or when it was USFL. Obviously, they've got a couple of all pros on special teams from Turpin and Aubrey from that spot. So they do a really good job. And where they struggled a little bit is, I would think, second, third, fourth round, because those guys have to help you, and they haven't been as good there. So they don't have a second and third rounder right now. We'll see if they end up getting there. All right, JR in Avondale. JR, what's up?
Morning, Nick. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing excellent. Hey, 206 days until the first Sunday of NFL football. By the next time we all get together, it'll be less than 200 days. So we're moving in the right direction.
Yep.
So all the talk about the draft and free agency, it's really whatever happens in free agency, to me, dictates what they're going to do in the draft. My biggest fear is there's a run on defensive players. We're sitting there at 12, and the value's not there. So I think I've seen the scenario of trading 20 to Cleveland, moving up to 6, taking downs, and then moving back, and then we get the third pick 39. So my question would be, how do you value the players between 20 and 40? If you have a first-round grade on 13 guys, and then after that it's just a bunch of guys, then do a move like that. Otherwise, you're going to have to be real careful about who you pick with those 2 picks, because I don't know that 2 guys makes that big of a difference, if that makes any sense. And last thing is, when do you think the Cowboys, when do we take a quarterback to start developing? I know we got Dak for a few more years, but what if a guy like Klubnik or one of these guys that's played a lot of football is still available in the 4th or 5th round? Do we make a move on that? And that's all I got, and have a great day, and go Cowboys.
All right. Appreciate the call. It's interesting you say that about the 4th round. The Cowboys have – That's kind of been the round that they've done that. It doesn't always work. I mean, in 2009, they had just signed Romo to a deal in 2007. I mean, he was the guy. He was going to be the guy. He's got him in the playoffs in a couple of years and setting records and all that. And they drafted Stephen McGee in the 4th round of 2009. Didn't work out. He didn't get the chance. He wasn't. That wasn't worth the pick probably, but that whole draft was bad. But they take Dak in 2016, and Romo at that point was been a starter now for 8 or 9 years, been in the league for a while. So I think that's the round that you start looking at that. They don't bypass quarterback when they do their evaluations. I mean, they're going to look at all of them. So if there's a quarterback that they like and that will fall, that falls to the 4th round, or just somebody that they think that they could develop. Now, let's not forget that they did that with Milton to try and develop him. He's a young player as well. This is his 3rd year, so they see some things in him that they want to develop, but that doesn't mean you would go away from it if there was someone that they liked that fell in their lap. I always think of Washington drafting Robert Griffin with the 2nd pick in the draft, and then in the 3rd round they got Kirk Cousins. That might not have helped situation there with Robert Griffin, but if you look at the guys that are available now, you'll do that. Going back to another thing that you said though about where these players are going to be and how many 1st round grades you have. Like you said, 13 1st round grades. Well, I've heard 18 before. I mean, this year they're still working on that. They're still figuring all that out. But what if it was 18, 17? Let's say 17 1st round grades. That when the draft starts, they've got 17 1st round grades. That would be a little high, but I've seen that many before on their board. If that's the case, and you're sitting with 20, you're gonna get them both. I mean, it's a pretty good assumption that your 17 players are not going to go in the first 19 picks. One of those guys is going to be there because teams, evaluate these guys differently. So if that's the case, and so that's something we just don't know. We won't really know. And, sometimes they tell you differently, like after the fact. They'll be like, oh, we had him as a first-round grade or whatever it is. But, so I think you have to kind of play that and see. Like you talked about 20 to 40 and it being a bunch of guys, but I think the big question is 12 to 20. That's the sweet spot. That's where we're gonna see a lot. If the Cowboys had 11 to 12 first round grades and they're just hoping that they get one of them at least at 12, then trading at 20 makes a lot more sense. But if you're sitting there closer to 20 first round grades, maybe 16, 17, 18, thinking you got a really good shot. And maybe you can even move from 20 to 18, not going to cost you as much. You got to figure out a way to do that. But my point is I think it all determines on how many first round grades that you have. Let's go Jeremy in Salt Lake City.
Hey, Nick, what's going on, man?
How are you?
I'm good. It's been a couple of weeks, but I just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents on like this talk about getting the guy from Vegas.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I love the idea of having that front, like you were saying, but at the same time, at what cost, right? And I think that a lot of us, a lot of fans have been really frustrated by Jerry, saying that we can't afford things when they think that we can. And I think that's the biggest thing is that we got a lot of fans that think that we can afford things and that he's just like sitting on money for some reason or, we're not using all of our cap or whatever kind of thing. But, you really got to think about how, I want to win now, right? We all want to win now, but do I want to sit through a year of, 1-15? Do I want to sit through, a couple years of being in cap hell? I remember the early 2000s, that feeling every year going in, knowing that there was just no way, we could do anything in free agency because we'd tied up all our money with all these superstars. I think that looking at the Super Bowl this year, especially, you've got to have those second-tier players. And I think that's where most teams are winning now is with the second tier, not necessarily their superstars. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a few superstars that they can pay, but you've really got to hit with those second-tier players. And that, I think, is going to be the key to this team being successful next season. Is not necessarily getting, a big-name defensive end, but getting a couple guys that can really, be kind of second tier, share time with other guys, and really make a good cohesive unit, because that's what we saw in Seattle with that defense.
Sure.
Right? So I just kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
You're right.
And, go Cowboys, man.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. That was the recipe for their success. And even if you're talking about second tiers, there's a lot of people that wouldn't even put Sam Darnold in a second tier for a quarterback. I don't know. It's different now, but he, he's a guy that it was just solid. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And you saw that, talent wise, who's going to have a better career, Drake May or Sam Darnold? I remember getting asked right before the game, who's got the best quarterback? And I was like, that's a tough question, because talent wise, you would think it's going to be Drake May, but for this game, for this moment, do you want the more experienced player? He's been around. He's seen 7 different teams, and he's kind of even keel and built for this moment. And as it turned out, he was there. Now, but to talk about what you're saying, that's why they haven't been as good. Those second, third, fourth round picks just haven't developed like they should have, or like you need them to. Jake Ferguson has, that's one. Deron Bland, but there hasn't been a whole lot of others. Cooper Beebe, I think you could throw in there, but from a defensive side of the ball, those linebackers, you need, Maris Leofau to really take that leap. You needed Sam Williams to do that. You need those kind of guys to take that jump, and it hasn't always happened. All right, our last caller today is going to be Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia. Sebastian, what's up?
How are we doing, Mr. Eaton?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to call in real quick and give some opinions after watching the Super Bowl and seeing how those teams were compiled. And I have been on this train of not signing George Pickens. I know it's keep Jeep. I don't feel like keeping Jeep makes your team better because we have so many defensive needs. I'm in the camp of franchise tag. I'm fine with that. Franchise tag and trade. I'm fine with that. As far as our picks go for this year, I want to be picking in the first round twice, no matter what we do. I don't care if they trade back and get extra picks. As long as we're still picking in the first round twice, I'm happy with that. But where I say, if you look at the teams that went to the Super Bowl, Stephon Diggs, Trayvon Diggs' brothers on the team, he shut down. These massive, great receivers are shut down. I don't think we need two A-class receivers to survive this league. I think we need a much better defense. So if you give George Pickens $35 million, $40 million, whatever the case is, you can't possibly build a better team that's going to actually help you win more games. With the both of them last year, we got 7.5 games out of it. I want to see this team improve greatly, and I think that this will fall in the camp of another bad contract if we extend him. And then also, I feel like you kind of got to wait 18 months to see what type of relationship you have with a person and who the person really is. So I franchise tag him, see how he handles that, and if you go and have a great season and you make it deep in the playoffs, then you can extend him in the next season. But you have a great day. I hope everybody's doing well, and I'll hang up and listen.
Or you could franchise him again. You could certainly do that. Yeah, I mean, that's what makes this a very interesting contract. It's just not a normal one, and it's going to be tough to see. You can argue both sides to that. You can say, well, these two guys only got you 7 wins. True. So fix the defense and see if you can get to 11 or 12. Or you can say, all right, well, that didn't help you, so let's get rid of Pickens, get another guy. And they're still going to fix the defense and hope that both of those can help you get there, and you'll have more money to help with that defense, like you're saying. So there's different ways to go about it. I still think Jerry is, he's usually not one that's going to get rid of a star player, and it probably hurt him to do that with Micah. And this is a different relationship, obviously, because he hasn't been here as long, but he still looks like a star player, and I just have a hard time thinking the Cowboys would do that again. So we'll see. The negotiations hopefully are starting, but you don't want it to drag on too much because, if they can get a deal done, that would certainly help them in free agency as far as having some money to do more things. All right, great show, guys. Appreciate all the calls. We've got 13 calls. Did a really good job. We'll be here next Wednesday. We'll do it again next Wednesday as well. So for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you then on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?